You're the CEO and co-founder of Tools for Humanity, the main developer of Worldcoin, that crypto project co-created by OpenAI's Sam Altman. And you're speaking with us today to introduce what's called Worldcoin's World ID 2.0. According to Tools for Humanity, this protocol update is supposed to help distinguish between bots and verified humans online while preserving privacy. Can you take us through World ID 2.0 and why you thought this update was absolutely necessary?
Yeah, so the general background of World ID as a whole, so not even the specific update, is that we think the internet will become very different in the coming years, in the sense that most of the things we interact with are probably AI generated. And for many things, that's good, or even entertaining, right? Like images and videos and kind of AI generated images and videos that's fun, that's exciting. But for example, Twitter, or now X, is a counterexample, right? It's like there is already a big bot problem, but now if you step ahead a couple months and the US elections is ongoing, and you have very capable AI systems that could influence public opinion in a meaningful way, we think that we will need in the coming years a way to actually verify we are real human beings. And we need a way that works globally, not only in the United States or in Europe, but it actually has to work really all around the world. And so we spend years and a lot of efforts and resources to build essentially a biometric device that is called the orb, that we essentially distribute all around the world. And you can sign up to one of these and you receive your World ID. And what makes that special is that all of this happens through zero-knowledge proofs, which is a way to ensure that you actually don't share your information with anyone. So essentially, the platform only knows that you're an actual unique human being. They don't have any of your biometric data. They don't have any other data of you, nor do we as Tools for Humanity that created that protocol. So that's the short backstory. And now to World ID 2.0. It's a couple things altogether. So for one, it's very important protocol updates that we knew have to get out there, mostly around security. So for example, re-authentication and recovery. So if you lose your World ID, you can now just go back to an orbit, recover it. That is easy. And re-authentication just means you actually, as a user, you cannot sell or trade your World ID to other people, but rather you have to re-authenticate whenever you want to use it in kind of more important applications. And that maybe sounds like a small technical detail, but it's actually very important for important applications. That's one. But then two, we worked really hard on the way that platforms and companies can actually use World ID, and most importantly, also developers. And so we launched a new developer platform that makes it very easy for them to integrate. And it actually also comes with some major integrations right at launch. So for example, Minecraft, Discord, Reddit, on all of these platforms, you will be able to verify humanness, which I think will be very exciting to people. And will make it very easy for developers to build new applications on top of that we have not seen before.
I want to focus on the privacy component. How are you able to preserve privacy with World ID 2.0 exactly?
How that works is on a very, very high level. You go to an orb, you sign up. The first thing it does, it verifies that you're an actual human being. So you're not a display, you don't try to fraud it. It creates then a picture of you, of your face and your actual eye, your iris. That's why the iris is the actual thing that the only thing that works on a billion people scale. Fingerprints, Face ID, all of those things would not work. So it's the only solution. And so to that then gets sent to a uniqueness service, which right now is a database. Later it will be an actual blockchain that compares your iris code, which is just embedding. So it's not the actual data. It's just an embedding that is calculated out of that image against everyone else. And if that comparison is unique, you as a user can then prove with a zero-knowledge proof on your phone, on your wallet app, that you're actually included in that set of people. And so without making it technically too complicated, what that means is that no one, not even us currently running the server or anyone else, would even know who you are and what you do or what your name is or what your biometric data is. All of these things are cryptographically decoupled, and there's nothing and no one that can change that. And even if you log in into a platform, so let's say you would log in into X at some point or Discord, the platform knows nothing about you other than you did not interact with that platform before with that World ID. So it is, even though it seems like it's kind of, there is an actual privacy concern because it uses biometrics, which I very much understand, it actually is the far opposite. It is far more privacy preserving than your Google login or anything similar to that. So it's a little bit counterintuitive, but it really is one of these things that crypto succeeded in zero knowledge proofs in the last 5 years.
So expanding on that, there have been concerns that WorldCoin's orbs might use the information for things like personalized marketing. WorldCoin argues that the data is used to create a unique and secure form of identification and that it was designed to protect individual privacy, as you just noted. I heard you say that at first, even you were skeptical of scanning eyeballs, acknowledging that it sounds, quote, very scary. So what ultimately made you and your team decide to go this route with the iris recognition? What would you say to the skeptics?
Yeah, so first of all, to the marketing angle, all right, that's a very, again, it's very easy to understand how that is kind of a concern that comes up, because that is just clearly what we have seen in the past. Most companies do, right? That's the business model of most large companies. The thing is, if you actually understand the technology and you spend some time with it, and most of it is open source, so you don't even have to trust us. We could not even do that. It would technically be absolutely impossible to do something like targeted marketing, because you, as a user, you're fully decoupled from everything else with zero knowledge proofs, and we cannot bypass that. So that's the first important point. And to your second question, to my first initial reaction and then me changing my mind. So yeah, when Sam pitched me the idea in the very early days, and we did the research, the last thing we wanted to do is build a hardware device and kind of do biometric iris scanning, because it sounded crazy as a startup to manufacture hardware, ship it around the world. It probably still sounds crazy to you. So it was not easy, and it was not an easy decision. But we actually spent almost a year doing a lot of research, and that's what I did before. I was a theoretical physicist. I did a lot of research. We built prototypes for everything else that would exist. So we tried to do it with government identities, KYC. We tried to use web of trust systems and build our own ones. And we tried all different kinds of biometric versions. So using something similar to Face ID or palm scanning or finger scanning, right? We tried all of these things, but the fundamental difference here is that all the things that you usually use, your Face ID, for example, what it does, it is a one-to-one comparison. It ensures that you're the same person showing up again. While what we will have to solve together as society, with AI becoming increasingly powerful, is we need to solve proof of personhood, which is one-to-many, one-to-n. And so the simple math around this is that if you would do it with face or fingerprints, this would actually not work. It would break. And so back then we understood, okay, the iris is actually the only modality that works to do something as ambitious as Worldcoin. Plus, together with zero knowledge proofs and clever engineering, we can actually make it the most privacy preserving alternative that we are left with. So that then made me comfortable to steer ahead and pursue the path.
Criticism related to privacy surrounding WorldCoin's key feature, that digital identity service, even led to some regulators, including those in the UK, to look into the project. Reuters reported that several countries in Europe, including Germany and France, have been investigating WorldCoin, and in early August, the government in Kenya suspended the project following privacy objections over iris scans. So what's your reaction to all that backlash?
Well, it's not surprising if you have an app that goes to the top 10 in the App Store in pretty much every country that we get in, and it involves an iris scanning device called the Orb, and that is a Chrome ball. Like there's of course many things that it really is the regulator's job to ask questions. and we encourage that. So we work with all of these regulators, we answer all of their questions, and I think we actually will have some very good news and exciting news to share here soon. But fundamentally, I think the most important message is we expected this to happen, of course, so we prepared for this for a long time. We know we are compliant with the most strict regulations on this topic around the world. So we are very, very confident in the resolution of all of these conversations.
Where does the data compiled by the orb live, and what are you doing with the data exactly?
By default, the only thing that actually leaves the orb is the iris code. So the actual image gets deleted on the device. We have metadata that also gets streamed by the orb. So kind of where is the orb? Does the orb move around? Which is not directly connected to the user, just so we detect kind of fraud attempts. But that's the default. And then this iris code goes to, right now, a server that we operate. And that depends on where you actually are. Kind of where that, for most of the world, that's in the EU. I think actually in the UK, but I would need to verify that. And we then compare the iris code against everyone else. That is the default. And then there's also an opt-in feature. So similar to Apple, if you want to help us improve the protocol, you can share more data with us. And that then also is on our servers. But that's now the large minority.
So what was your goal with the launch of Worldcoin? How are you meeting that goal so far? And how is it changing the crypto industry?
Well, the simple goal of Worldcoin is to create the largest financial and identity network for the world. And that is, of course, a very ambitious goal, very lofty goal that I think we now have heard many times from many people. But the fundamental idea around Worldcoin is that we have incentive alignment around real human beings joining a network. Incentive alignment, I mean, every user that signs up receives amount of the digital currency called Worldcoin, and that essentially is billions of dollars. So what this leads to is very explosive growth. So we are now the fastest growing crypto app, I think, probably in the, almost certainly in the world, but definitely in many of the countries we operate in. So for example, today, I think we're the #1 financial app in Portugal. That's one. And how we generally track against our goals. I mean, we launched in July, so that we are still very early in the terms of the general ambitions of the project. We worked almost 3 years to get to the launch. And now it's all about expansion and growth. So roll it out faster, get to more markets faster, and have, kind of make the product available to as many people as possible. We're now doing a little over 50,000 signups every week, with 190 orbs. So, and we want to double that every quarter.
Alex Blania, CEO and co-founder of Tools for Humanity. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.